Kentucky looks peaceful. Bluegrass fields, horse farms, and quiet blue rivers. But locals know better. Under that calm, some of the most dangerous animals in America are hiding in these woods, caves, and rivers. From venomous snakes coiled under leaf piles to predators moving through the dark. These are the animals that make Kentucky locals turn around and walk the other way. Some of these threats have lived here for centuries. Others have only returned in the last few decades, moving back into the state's forests and rivers as their numbers recover. Here are the 10 most dangerous animals hiding in Kentucky that locals refuse to go near. Number 10, alligator snapping. Turtle Kentucky's rivers hide one of the most brutal ambush predators in North America, the alligator snapping turtle. This isn't your backyard pond turtle. It's the largest freshwater turtle in North America, with some recorded specimens topping 200 pounds and living over 100 years. Its spiked shell looks armored, built like something out of a horror movie. It lies motionless at the bottom of rivers and lakes in western Kentucky, mouth open, wiggling a worm-shaped tongue to lure fish straight into its jaws. Those jaws bite with enough force to snap a broomstick in half, and human fingers aren't much of a challenge. The largest verified specimens have topped 200 pounds, and unverified reports from the wild put some individuals even heavier. It can hold its breath for nearly an hour, staying hidden in murky water without ever surfacing. Found in the Green Cumberland, Tennessee, and Ohio River drainages, it's now protected in Kentucky, and harvesting one without a permit is illegal because populations drop sharply from decades of trapping. Locals who fish the Mississippi and Ohio River backwaters know the rule. Never dangle a hand or foot in murky water. You won't see it coming, and by the time you do, it's already too late. Number 9, feral hog. Feral hogs might not look like killers, but in Kentucky's backcountry, they're one of the most unpredictable threats around. These aren't cute farm pigs. Wild boars can weigh up to 400 pounds, grow razor-sharp tusks several inches long, and travel in aggressive packs called sounders. When cornered or when protecting piglets, they charge without warning, and their tusks can tear through skin, muscle, and even hunting dogs in seconds. Most trace back to escaped domestic pigs and Eurasian boars, released for hunting in the early 1900s, and they've since spread into dozens of Kentucky counties, mostly in the South and West, causing millions in crop damage every year. The state now runs a zero-tolerance policy, encouraging landowners to shoot hogs on site instead of letting populations grow, since the national feral hog population has climbed past 6 million and keeps expanding into new territory every year. They also carry diseases like brucellosis and pseudorabies, dangerous to both livestock and humans. Unlike deer, feral hogs don't run from noise. They stand their ground, and sometimes they attack first, charging low and fast with their heads down before anyone has time to react. Hunters and hikers give them wide space, especially at dawn and dusk when hogs are most active, because a spooked sounder can turn a quiet trail into a stampede in an instant. Number 8. Coyotes have quietly taken over Kentucky, and they're smarter and bolder than most people realize. Weighing between 20 and 45 pounds, coyotes were largely absent from Kentucky until the 1970s, after wolves were wiped out across the region. They moved in fast and now live in every single county, slipping through forests, farm fields, and even suburban backyards in Louisville and Lexington at night. Alone, coyotes usually avoid humans, but in packs, especially during breeding season, they turn far more aggressive, stalking pets, livestock, and in rare cases, people. Some eastern coyotes even carry wolf DNA, making them larger and more powerful than their western cousins. Their howls at night, rising in overlapping pitches from what sounds like a dozen animals, are enough to make anyone lock the doors a little tighter. Farmers across Kentucky report losing livestock to coyote packs that hunt with wolf-like coordination, circling prey before closing in, and suburban homeowners report a steady rise in missing cats and small dogs snatched right out of fenced yards. Locals near wooded areas know not to let small pets roam after dark, because a hungry pack doesn't care whose yard it's in. Number 7. Bobcat. Kentucky's bobcats are elusive, but don't let their size fool you. These wildcats weigh up to 35 pounds, yet they're built for stealth and speed, with claws and jaws strong enough to take down deer twice their own size. Bobcat populations have rebounded across the entire state after decades of decline from heavy fur trapping, and sightings now stretch from the eastern mountains to western river bottoms, common enough that Kentucky now runs a regulated hunting and trapping season. Bobcats rarely attack humans, but when cornered, injured, or rabid, they turn explosively violent, capable of leaping 10 feet and shredding skin in seconds. And a rabid bobcat is one of the few scenarios where an otherwise shy animal will charge straight at a person without provocation. Most encounters happen at dusk or after dark, when bobcats are actively hunting rabbits, rodents, and turkey. Locals who spend time in the woods know the signs: a low growl, a flash of spotted fur, glowing eyes in a flashlight beam, and know it's smarter to back away slowly than to get curious. Number 6. Timber rattlesnake. The timber rattlesnake is one of Kentucky's most feared reptiles, and for good reason. Found in the rocky wooded hills of eastern Kentucky, especially around the Red River Gorge, this snake can grow over 5 feet long and deliver a bite loaded with potent hemotoxic venom that destroys tissue and blood cells and stops blood from clotting properly. Its rattle is a warning, but it doesn't always sound before striking, especially if you step too close without noticing it coiled under leaves or sunning on a rock ledge. A single bite can inject enough venom to require multiple vials of antivenom and days in a hospital, and the species is now considered a species of special concern in parts of the state after decades of population decline. Early settlers in the region feared it enough to build entire folk remedies and warning songs around its bite, and modern hikers in the Daniel Boone National Forest still watch every step, especially in September and October, when rattlesnakes gather near dens before winter. A bite left untreated can cause severe swelling, internal bleeding, and in the worst cases, death. It's no surprise longtime Kentuckians treat every rustle in the dry leaves as a reason to stop walking immediately. Number 5. Cottonmouth. Cottonmouths are restricted mostly to the far western Purchase region, near the Mississippi and Tennessee rivers, where the swamps and slow-moving water give this pit viper the perfect hiding ground. Also called the water moccasin, this venomous snake turns aggressive when threatened, and unlike most snakes, it often stands its ground instead of fleeing, gaping its jaws to flash the white lining of its mouth as a warning. Its bite delivers venom that destroys tissue and can cause permanent damage, scarring, and even limb loss if not treated quickly. Cottonmouths are strong swimmers, often seen gliding across the water's surface with their heads raised, and unlike harmless water snakes, they can strike even while swimming. Because they look so similar to the harmless northern water snakes that share the same rivers, they're frequently misidentified and picked up or approached by people who don't realize the danger until it's too late. Locals who fish or kayak Kentucky's western wetlands check the water and banks carefully before stepping in, because a cottonmouth blends in perfectly with submerged logs, mud, and shadows. Number 4. Copperhead. The copperhead causes more venomous snake bites in Kentucky and in the entire country than any other species, and it's easy to see why. Its copper and brown hourglass pattern blends perfectly into fallen leaves, making it nearly invisible until you're already too close. Nationally, copperheads are blamed for thousands of bites a year, more than any other venomous snake in the country, largely because they live so close to people. In Kentucky, they turn up across the entire state, from remote hollows to backyard gardens and hiking trails in Louisville and Lexington's own suburbs. Juvenile copperheads even have a bright yellow-green tail tip they wiggle like a worm to lure and prey. Their bite is rarely fatal to healthy adults, but it's excruciatingly painful, causes serious tissue damage, and often means a trip to the emergency room. Unlike rattlesnakes, copperheads give no warning rattle. The first sign is usually the bite itself, and most bites happen to bare feet and hands when someone steps into a woodpile or reaches into brush without looking first. Locals wear tall boots in tall grass and check woodpiles and porches carefully, because copperheads love hiding in cool, shaded debris right next to the house. Number 3. Black widow. Spider. Kentucky's sheds, basements, and woodpiles hide one of North America's most venomous spiders, the black widow. Small, glossy black, and marked with a red hourglass on her belly, the female's neurotoxic venom is far more potent than a rattlesnake's, drop for drop, though she injects far less of it in a single bite. Males are smaller, harmless, and rarely seen. Bites are rarely fatal for healthy adults, but they cause intense muscle cramping, sweating, nausea, and in severe cases, breathing difficulty that requires antivenom, and the small number of deaths on record almost always involve young children or the elderly. Black widows prefer dark, undisturbed spaces, exactly the kind of clutter found in old barns, garages, and woodpiles across rural Kentucky. Their webs are messy and irregular, nothing like the neat spirals of a garden spider, which is often the first clue one is nearby. Locals who grew up on farms shake out gloves, boots, and stacked firewood before touching them, because a black widow can be sitting quietly inside, waiting. Number 2. Brown recluse spider. The brown recluse is one of the most feared spiders in Kentucky, and its bite has a reputation that keeps people checking their sheets before bed. Kentucky sits right in the heart of its range, alongside Missouri, Tennessee, and Arkansas, and it often travels undetected inside moving boxes and stacked firewood, which is how new infestations start in homes that never had them before. Its venom can cause necrosis, destroying skin and tissue around the bite site, sometimes requiring weeks of wound care or surgery to repair. What makes the brown recluse especially dangerous is how well it hides, tucked into closets, attics, cardboard boxes, and stacks of firewood, often going unnoticed until it's disturbed. Unlike most spiders, it has 6 eyes instead of 8 and a dark violin-shaped mark on its back. Bites are often painless at first, which means people don't realize anything happened until the wound starts spreading hours or days later. In rare cases, the venom triggers a full-body reaction affecting blood and kidneys, not just the skin around the bite. Locals in older rural homes inspect dark corners and shake out stored clothing and shoes because a brown recluse bite can go from a small red mark to a serious medical emergency within days. Number 1. American black bear. At the top of Kentucky's danger list is the American black bear, a growing presence in the eastern mountains. Black bears were nearly wiped out of Kentucky by the early 1900s through unregulated hunting and habitat loss. They only returned naturally in the 1990s, migrating in from bear populations in Virginia, Tennessee, and West Virginia. Since then, they've made a strong comeback in counties like Harlan, Bell, Pike, and Letcher, with the population now numbering in the hundreds and climbing every year. These bears can weigh over 400 pounds, sprint up to 30 miles per hour, and are strong enough to tear apart trees, coolers, and car doors looking for food. Attacks on humans are rare, but bears that lose their fear of people, often after being fed or finding unsecured trash, turn far more dangerous, wandering into yards, campsites, and even small towns like Pikeville and Harlan in broad daylight. Mothers with cubs are especially unpredictable, capable of charging without warning if they feel threatened. Wildlife officials now track bears with GPS collars to monitor how far the population is spreading, and reports of bears raiding trash cans and bird feeders in residential neighborhoods have climbed steadily over the past decade. Locals in bear country know the rules: never leave food or trash out, make noise while hiking, and never get between a mother and her cubs. It's why so many Kentuckians in the mountains keep bear spray by the door, because in these hills, the biggest threat doesn't always announce itself. Kentucky's peaceful hills hide some seriously dangerous animals, and locals who live alongside them know better than to take any of them lightly. Whether it's a hidden rattlesnake under the leaves, a cottonmouth gliding through the water, a lurking bobcat at dusk, or a bear at the tree line, respect for the wild is what keeps people safe out here. None of these animals go looking for a fight, but every one of them will finish one if pushed into a corner. Stay alert, stay smart, and stay out of their way.